screen. But just welcome to everybody. We'll just give it another minute or so just to let everybody in. I'm sure people are still trying to get in. Yeah, there were issues, I think, during the lunchtime session. So I'm hoping everybody can join this evening as well. But in the meantime, welcome. Sit back, relax, have a cup of coffee or tea, and if you need to have a snack while you're waiting, I know it's the evening. Please feel free, and we'll be good to go in another minute or so.
Cool. This is middle spot.
Guys, while you're waiting, maybe you can find the comment section. If you can open the comment button, and you can see the comments that are made during the session, so you can ask questions as we go along, and also maybe just tell us where you're joining us from. It'd be nice to know where everyone is coming in from.
Okay, so officially welcome everybody to your first orientation session, and well done on getting through to the session as well. My name is Mariam. I'm a financial reporting lecturer, and Tracy Cross is assisting me. So I'll let her introduce herself, just explain who she is as well.
Hi, yes, guys, I'm Tracy. Sorry, let me turn my glasses off so you can see me. I am the financial reporting subject head here in the department. So Mariam and I work together quite closely in financial reporting. Yeah, so you'll see a lot of us in the coming course. Nice to have you all. Well done for making it here, getting here into the session. As Mariam said, it's part of the key learning outcome of this session is just to be here. So welcome. It's good to have you.
Well done. I had some music on earlier. So what we normally do at the start of a session, just to make sure sound is working from your side or my side, we play a bit of music. So if you can't hear that, then we just need to try and figure out what the problem is. We'd love to see who we're talking to as well. Normally the sessions that we have, it's just just a lecturer by themselves, and they would appreciate lots of interaction. So it'll be nice to see who we're talking to as well. Just with each of the sessions, if you are not talking, we would appreciate it if you could please just mute your microphone, because then there's lots of background noise coming through, which disturbs the essence of the session as well. So you're more than welcome to keep your videos on, but just mute the microphone as well, while you're listening into the session as well. So basically what we want to do with this particular session is, just to have a broad discussion, share some ideas, discuss what's expected of you in the next few months ahead as well. And we would love to hear from you guys as well. Talk so we can hear your voices, put your videos on so we can see, and we want everybody to get to know each other as well, because it's nice to work in collaboration as well. So if you've got any questions while we're talking, please feel free to interrupt. If you're still feeling a bit shy or it's a bit daunting to be on this medium, drop a message in the comment section, as Tracy has mentioned, and we'll try and pick that up during the session. If not, we'll address whatever your queries you have at the end as well. Okay, so let's get started. So I'm not sure where everybody is from, and the interesting part about the technology is that we're running this amazing program online, and as Tracy mentioned, she and I work very closely together, but I'm up in Johannesburg sitting in a thunderstorm at the moment, while Tracy is down in sunny Cape Town. So that's the most amazing thing about having you guys on this program as well, is that not only do we have students from South Africa, but we have international students as well. So we even have students from Namibia. So I'm not sure if there's anybody on the program that's not from South Africa or other parts of the country or somewhere interesting that we've not heard of as well.
Janelle tells us that she's dialing in from Auckland in New Zealand.
Wow,
so I'm thinking it must be
welcome.
very early in the morning for you, Janelle. That's pretty incredible.
Very impressive, and glad to have you here at this time. As you know, it's just after 6:30 in the evening here in South Africa. So great to have you on board, and everybody else as well. Like I said, the purpose of this is to introduce ourselves and, to give you an idea of after the session, what do you have to do? What do you need to do? Because I'm sure there's been an information overload with, looking at the introduction, looking at the first topic, having these orientation sessions. How do things work? So, and primarily as well, I think, and you'll see this here as well, we want to establish a community. So if you think about community, what does it actually mean to you? So in the area that you live, you want to get to know the neighbors, you want to know the people that work in your area. If there's a shop down the road, you want to know, who become friendly with those people as well. So we want to, get to know each other, build a community, and you can see we can build this community. We are not restricted by any boundaries, because the person that you might work in a study group with could be in another province or in another country as well. So community is something that we stress on as well. And when we talk about the community in our forum as well, it's not only yourself, it's your fellow students, is us as the lecturers as well, and the support that goes into this program as well. So let's get to know each other so we can support each other. And what's important is for you guys to feel free to, open up, ask questions, and, not feel uncomfortable in asking any type of questions as well. And I promise you, you will develop bonds and relationships with other students that might not necessarily be in your specific area. So, get involved, talk to us, let us know what you like, let us know what you don't like. When you're not sure of something, ask a question, whether you're going to email it to us, whatever. So just make sure that you feel like you're part of this community that we, want to establish as well. And when we talk about the support mechanisms that we can offer, and I'm sure you would have seen some of that when you're working through the material as well. You have the benefit of chatting to the lecturers on a one-on-one basis. So you can set up a meeting to chat, to Tracy. So you'll have a live discussion like we have here, to talk about anything in particular. You can drop an email in at Zendesk. You can post a query relating to the material on the discussion forum. But whatever you're comfortable with, that mechanism is what we encourage you to use. But, feel free to try all the different mediums before you decide, okay, this is the one that I prefer as well. And remember, at the end of the day, we're all trying to achieve the same objective, and we all want you to be successful and pass this bridging course so that you can then move on to your PGDA or CTA as well. Okay, any questions? Like I said, we are lecturers, so we tend to talk quite a bit as well. Does anybody have any questions? Because if you don't stop and ask questions, I could continue talking as well. So any questions so far?
Hi, yes, I have a question.
Sure. Okay.
You're speaking to Estasha.
Hi, Estasha. Welcome.
Thank you. One of my questions when I was doing the overall introduction on the main page is it shows you the percentage that you have completed. And I've completed the entire introduction section, but it's only showing like 57% completed, yet I've went through everything. I just want to know, what am I doing wrong or what am I missing?
I think can you just send an email to the support at Zendesk so we can pick that up and check from an admin perspective what the reason is for that.
I have emailed them about 2 weeks ago, but I still haven't had any response back.
Okay, what I'm going to do is then I'm going to follow up on that. Can you then send me an email directly?
Yes, that's sure. Your email address, please?
It's Mariam at.
Mariam at.
I think it's Zendesk. I just want to double check because I know our emails change. Tracy, I'm not sure if you know what the new email is. It's in the intro.
I'll get that email for you, Tasha, and I'll put it in the comments now so that you know who to email.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Any other comments? Any other questions before we move on? Okay, everybody good to go? Okay, so let's start getting working through the material, pointing the direction, and let or give you an idea of what we want you to actually achieve in the next few months as well. So now, in terms of the intro material for the overall program, actually, it's quite important that you have been through that material as well. And also, you need to also go through the material for each of the subjects. So for your FR, your tax, CGA, and your math as well, because the requirements for each one could possibly be different as well. And you need to become familiar what's expected of you from each of these particular modules or the subject as well. So when we're talking about, the overall material, I think most of you would be familiar with what this actually looks like. And we find a lot of students actually don't go through each of these in detail, and then miss important bits of information as well. So like the first tab says, this is an important starting point, gives you an overall view, and each of these lessons has important information which we need you to go through before you go straight into each of these particular modules as well. The calendar is a good idea to have a look at, so you can obviously then plan yourself ahead. Rules as well, I would stress the importance of going through the rules. It has the student handbook, and it gives you explicit information about how the program runs and what the requirements are during the year as well. And if you've got any questions, we'll try and answer that in our session today. And then we'll talk a little bit about the books later. And here's the lecturer bit of information. So if you want to email any of the lecturers, you'll have our contact details here as well. And then we talked about introducing yourself. So I think it's important, and we've seen a lot of students actually, sending their little introductions, and it's nice to know, where everybody's coming from. And you'll also find, throughout the program as well, you will find lots of things in common with other students, whether you're working part-time or, you a mum trying to juggle work and kids. So that's the other important thing about, establishing this community, to find common ground with other students as well. And I think what's also important, if you find common ground with other students, you can help and support each other, through your weekly program as well. And so this is basically, if you haven't looked at it, I strongly advise that you have a look at the overall program. And again, I stress the importance of looking at these particular rules, which give you the bridging rules in particular, and your handbook. So it tells you what to do in the event of you, say, missing a test, what makes up the year mark for the year, and things like that as well. And if you're still unsure about how certain things work, please feel free to drop us an email or give us a call and just check how everything works. So in terms of navigating through this, I'm hoping that you're able to work through each of the topics, and if you had any problems, just let us know and we can guide you through this particular process as well. Okay, and then when we look at the calendar, what's important in looking specifically, say, for example, at a particular module. So if you're looking at, say, FR, for example, you'll notice that you don't have access to all the material for the next 6 months. All that you've look at my mind is gone. So all that we've given to you at the moment is the overall program and topic 1. And you can see now how that works. And if you need to go through that as well, we'll go into detail with that. So basically what we do on a weekly basis, we'll release the material that's relevant for that week. So we don't, overwhelm you with like 15 topics. These are all the lessons that you need to do. These are all the activities that you need to do, and all the practice questions. So we release the material on a weekly basis, so you can plan your week ahead. What's also important that I didn't stress before is have a look at the schedule for the semester, because you need to see when the tests are, especially for those that actually that are working. So you can plan around the test dates and your exam dates. And normally with regards to the tests, we have 2 days for the tests and 4 days for the exam. So it depends on how your leave works. It'd be a good idea to plan, in advance, so you let your employer know which days that you probably will be allowed to take leave, if I'm not mistaken. So everybody will have different policies there. And when we talk about momentum and not falling behind. Now, when it comes to each of the modules, remember, you're not only doing FR or you're not only doing tax. You have 4 modules that you have to keep pace with. So it's very, very important that you don't fall behind. You know, if you haven't done one lesson or one activity, that's fine. But make sure that you spend most of your time, like you would see in the, I think there's a teaching and learning module in the overall program. It tells you how to manage your time for the week. And you'll find that as long as you keep that momentum going, right, you won't feel overwhelmed, you won't feel stressed at all, you will feel a lot more confident as well. So try, I know life happens, you know, you fall sick, your close family member falls sick, there's work deadlines that needs to happen, these things happen, and that's why we have the pacer to allow you then to plan your time as well, and you can catch up on that time. But my advice is, you know, don't leave it for like 2 or 3 weeks and wait for the day or two before the study break or during the study break or the day before the test to catch up, because unfortunately then your headspace is also in a, you know, in a panic state as well, if I can call it that. So that's why I stress the importance of looking at all 4 modules, looking at what's expected of you on a weekly basis, and plan your week ahead. And when I talk about planning your week ahead, we don't prescribe that on Monday you do FR, Tuesday you do tax. It just depends on what your life is like for that particular week. We have lots of students that, for example, you know, go into work an hour or 2 earlier every morning, work through their lessons, they work through their lessons, they go through their activities, or they stay at work in the evening for an hour or 2 to do that. And then what they do is on the weekends, then they do their practice questions. So you can see what works for you. I'm not going to prescribe that this is what you need to do, but we give you a time guidance and tell you, okay, this is how much of time you need to spend on a lesson. This is how much of time you need to spend on the practice question. And it's not prescribed, because obviously reading through a lesson might take you a little longer because you're trying to grasp a particular concept, or you've got some extra reading that needs to be done. So just make sure that, you know, you're familiar with what's required of you in a particular week. Or you might find doing practice questions in the week is a lot easier, and going through your lessons and activities in the weekend. You know, it just depends on your headspace and how hectic your life is during the week or the weekends as well. In terms of the rules and how your mark is made up, just have a look at the student handbook, and it gives you guidance as to what your year mark is. I think I made a note of it somewhere here. So your tests for the year would count 30%. You have your engagement activities, and you'll get reminders about when to do it and what needs to be done. And your final exam counts 60% towards your mark at the end of the year. And remember as well, we all want you to be successful, so you can then progress onto your CTA here as well. And so go through that rule book, see what needs to be done. If you have to miss it, you end up missing a test, look at the circumstances which you're allowed, you know, to make. We don't make up for tests, sorry. That's one thing I need to make clear as well. So we don't have a makeup test, but if you have a valid reason, then you are excused from a particular test as well. Okay, sorry, any questions so far?
Oh, David, I prefer to be called Silo, but I see that my name is appearing as David. But yeah,
okay.
Quick question with regard to the tests. I've seen somewhere, I think it was on the comments, that tests are online. Could you please maybe give clarity on that as to what is the nature of the tests?
Okay, you'll notice in your schedule you have 2 tests scheduled for the year, and closer to the time, Gareth will send out an announcement to let you know that over the 2 days, which subject you're writing in the morning and which subject you're writing in the afternoon. But I need to stress the importance of letting you know that the tests are not online tests. The activities that you do are little concepts that, you know, we get you to practice. Those are online, but your tests are written at venues. So you'll obviously write at the venue that's closest to you as well. So we don't have any online testing. Similarly with your exam as well, you will be writing a written exam. Okay. So please make sure as well, you know, you'll notice that in that first topic, like I said, the way it's set out is you'll have your lessons, you'll have your practice questions. We stress the importance of actually doing your practice questions by hand. because your tests are also written by hand. So you don't want to be doing everything online, answering your questions, whether it's on Word or on Excel, and come your test and exam time, you can't actually write for an hour and a half, because you're not used to actually doing that. So I think it's okay to do your lessons and your activities online, but please make sure that when you do your practice questions, you actually write it like you would in a test or in an exam as well. Okay, any other questions with regards to that? I'm glad that was a good question. Thanks for bringing that up. We do have had a few queries with regards to that as well. Okay.
And I maybe just chip in here, Mariam. Sorry. Guys, I just also wanted to mention, like, the fact that we don't have online tests is also, I'm sure that if not all of you, most of you are intending to progress to the PGDA and then go on to ITC, and you'll know that all of the assessments related, all of the board exams are currently written tests, and so because of that, the GDA exams are all also written. And so for this program, preparing you for the PGDA, the CTA, everything is going to be written. So I think that potentially there are other programs at Millpark where there are online assessments, but as Miriam has stressed, all of our assessments are going to be written in the test venues, and that's really with the long-term PGDA, ITC at the end of the road, well, the end of the PGDA road, that in mind. And so the hope with this program is that it really prepares you well as you go into PGDA, and it helps you to learn a lot of the stuff that we do in terms of how the course feels, like all the stuff that Miriam is describing about the lessons and the activities that we do and the practice questions, these live sessions, coming and joining and chatting to us. How do you ask a question? Where do you post if you're not sure about something? How do you reach a lecturer? Once you guys get into PGDA next year or mid-year, you will that'll be so second nature for you. You'll have such an advantage. You won't have to go through all that stuff at the beginning. And also with the test, you'll know where your venues are, and that whole process will be so much more streamlined. So this whole course is just about preparing you and laying a really great foundation for what's coming ahead. So keep your eyes fixed on that as well. And often the decisions that kind of why things are run in this program in a certain way is because it's kind of standing you in good stead as you progress into your studies. Yeah, so just 2 cents from me.
Thanks, Tracy. Any questions? Move on. Okay.
Hi. I have a question.
Sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I've got a question on the venue. Is it predetermined, or do we have to select the venue?
You would select a venue that's closest or most convenient to you as well.
And in terms of that, is there a process on how to select the venue?
Tracy, I'm not sure if Jackie, I'm sure Jackie would be able to assist with that.
I think, Ron, I'm not sure if it is predetermined for you or if you're able to select, but I imagine that it will be quite apparent given wherever you are located, which venue is applicable for you. But the right people to contact about that would be our program managers, and that's Jackie and Yumna. So I've put in the comments already that bridging@millpark.zendesk.com email. What I would suggest is just dropping an email to them if you're concerned about test venues. It's still quite a ways until the first test. The first test is only in the middle of March, so there'll be a lot of time for you to make sure that you are sorted with your venue and you know where you're going. And that's, sorry, I just need to mute someone.
Hi.
Oh,
Late here. on the wrong link. Like, I've been waiting for the past 30 minutes. I'm sorry, guys.
Sorry, were you in the wrong room?
Yeah, I went to the wrong room. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem. Welcome.
Yes.
But Ron, getting back to your question, Jackie and Yumna will definitely be able to help you if you want to know ahead of time what the process is with that. But as I say, test venue, the first test is only in the middle of March. So there's plenty of time for us to get that sorted.
If I may.
Sure.
Hi, Mariam. And
yes.
Tracy, if I could also just answer to Ron, perhaps, when we needed to register, there came a point where they actually asked you, you know, where are you staying, where you're residing, and then they would sort of search, I suppose, for a test venue closer to you. So, for example,
Yeah.
I'm all the way in Cape Town Strand, so the closer venue for me was Somerset West. So I don't know if somehow that was missed on Ron's side or something like that. And even on my registration information that I got, it showed my venue is Somerset West with my exam date.
Okay, awesome. I can also see some people mentioning that in the comments. Landu and Estasha are saying that they also selected upon registration. So maybe, Ron, go have another look at those documentations that Jamila is referring to. And if you can't find it, then please drop an email, or if you just want to confirm, Jackie and Yumna are super efficient and will be able to help you with that.
Also, Mariam, I'm actually doing the year course.
The 2 subjects per semester.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm doing the 2 subjects per semester course. Yes. I felt the four modules for 6 months is a bit too demanding. Yeah, like you said, with the whole family life, you know, and working full time and so on. So I suppose, like you said, with the 2 test days, Gareth will inform which tests are written when, and then we just slot in your 2 modules that you've selected, so to say.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. But thanks, Jamila. That's, I think, what's great about the program as well. You know, we try and accommodate, you know, as many people as we possibly can. And, you know, I think the fact that you've decided to do the half workload, you know, the work's still the same, but it's work according to how, you know, you can manage as well. So rather than take on too much, it was a great idea then to just split it according to how you would be able to manage. So, you know, well done on that as well. Okay, and thanks for that information about the test venues as well. It was definitely useful. Okay, just move on to the books. We've had numerous queries on the books, and in the introduction, we've mentioned that the textbook is the 5th edition of the IFRS principles, and what's also very important is the IFRS handbooks. So if you have not purchased the handbooks prior to this, and you've got this year's books, it's great. But some students that might be repeating or have the handbook from 2018, you can still use the 2018 version of the IFRS handbooks. However, last year when they published the IFRS handbooks, they published a separate book, the New Conceptual Framework. So even if you have the 2017 version, which is the green one, you can still use that because there haven't been any significant changes. So if you're using 2017 and if you're using 2018, just please make sure that you have the New Conceptual Framework, which was a separate handbook that was published supplementing the other IFRS handbooks. But if you've got this year's version, then that has been included in the main IFRS handbooks as well. Okay, so I hope that clears that up. There's a little video explaining what you need to do in just which textbooks and which IFRS handbooks that you need for that as well. So this year's one is the red one, as the very same color from last year as well. Okay, so does anybody have any other questions on the books? Because we've had quite a few queries on that. What I'd also like to stress is, in the information as well, there's a policy on what needs to be done when you're taking those books in the exam. Whether you can flag it, you can highlight, you can't write in that. So please make sure that with the IFRS handbooks that you're just very clear about what information goes into those handbooks, whether it's underlining, whether it's highlighting, because those are the books that you're taking into your test and exam. You're not allowed to take your IFRS principles textbook into the exam. That's not prescribed. And the reason that we're getting you used to doing this is because in CTA and in ITC, you're only allowed to take your IFRS handbooks into those exams as well. So if it's been written in and you've got little pieces of paper in there, you will not be allowed to use that in the exam as well. Okay, so any questions on the books?
Miriam?
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
I want to ask, when we're writing the test, do we bring the books? Is it an open book test or is it only the exam that's open book?
No, your tests and your exams are open book, so you're allowed to take your IFRS handbooks into your test and exam. So those are the books, the red covers. But that's for FR. You just need to check with each of the other subjects. I know tax has their legislation which you allow, but just become familiar with the rules regarding the legislation of the IFRS handbooks when you take them into the test and exam. So you are allowed to take those IFRS handbooks. And that's why in the material as well, we stress the importance of, becoming familiar with the IFRS handbooks. Use it while you are studying as well. You don't want to be opening that for the first time in a test and trying to look for that information. And remember as well, guys, it's an open book exam. Your answers are not in the IFRS handbooks. Okay, the IFRS handbooks gives you guidance as to how to answer that question. So unfortunately, there's no quick fix. I'm taking my IFRS handbooks. I've got all the answers in there. You need to become familiar in how to use the book so that, you can understand what information you need to be able to answer the questions as well. Okay, does that answer your questions?
Can I just also interject there? Sorry, Mariam. Obviously, Mariam and I work in FR, but this orientation session is applicable for all the subjects. We are just not familiar with the books that the other subjects will be using. So have a look. As Mariam said, there are details available in each subject. And on the program level page, I'm sure that there is a summary of all of the textbooks. So you can find out what all the books are. A lot of comments coming through that people enjoyed buying from Sherwood Books. There is a link where you can buy. Sherwood is also one where you can get all of the books that you require in one place for all of the subjects. And so that's really helpful. You might be able to get better deals if you go to several different places and you're wanting to shop around. But it seems that a lot of people are stoked with Sherwood. So just have a look around at the different requirements for each subject. Miriam's giving you quite a detailed overview of what we have in FR, and that's fantastic because we have been getting a lot of questions, as she said. But also bear in mind that there will be other textbooks and requirements for other subjects too.
No other questions but books then. Okay, like Tracy mentioned, there's Sherwood Books. They it's nice to buy from them, like Tracy mentioned, because they have all the prescribed books across all our courses. But if for some reason, there's no books available, I know Take a Lot last year did stock the IFRS handbooks, so you can look at other options as well if you're unable to get it through Sherwood. But I think Sherwood Book would be your first, port of call as well. So we talked about the different ways that, we lend support as well. I mentioned it earlier as well. So you can send, an email on Zendesk. You can ask a question on the discussion forum. You can have a one-on-one session booked with the lecturer as well. So you have various options available. Find the one that's most comfortable for you. But I would suggest trying each one, at least once or twice before you decide what you like the best. Depending on the nature of the question, if it's of a personal or a private nature, then we recommend that you email us directly. But if you've got a query about a particular question in the material, whether it's in the lessons and activities or in the practice questions, I would suggest actually putting it on the discussion forum, because the discussion forum then means that other students that may even have the same query will see that it's been put up and what the answer is as well. And if a question is put onto the discussion forum, please feel free to actually try and answer that question. So whether you're right or whether you're wrong, we'll give you direction on that as well. So don't feel that if a student has asked a question that you don't have to answer that. You were just going to wait for us. Try and give it a shot. See if you can answer that question. And like I said, we will tell you whether you're right. And most of the time, students actually answer each other's queries and are actually correct most of the time as well. So technical questions, I would encourage you to put on the discussion forum as well. If you've got numerous questions on a particular practice question, I would then encourage you to set up an online consultation with us, and then we can answer the questions for you directly as well. Now, in terms of the intro material, did you all find it easy to navigate? Were there any particular issues? Did you enjoy working with it? Did you just found it too daunting? Would love to hear how your experience was with navigating through the overall program material as well. Okay, anybody brave enough to let us know how it went? Any comments?
Hi, it's Tasha here.
Hi, Tasha.
I feel it was easy to navigate and understand and work through everything, and the videos and then the explanation after the videos and the questions. It it gives you everything that you need and make sure that you understand what you actually went through.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much. We really appreciate the input. And remember as well, guys, please feel free to give us comments. If you feel something worked for you, let us know. If it didn't work for you, how we can better that as well. We're always trying to improve because we need to meet your needs as well. Okay. So that was the overall program material. So just looking at the subject intro material. So we did release the first topic as well. But before you got to that, this is what basically the overall FR page looks like, right? So each of the other subjects will probably look a lot similar to that, but please make sure that you read through it, become familiar with this particular topic. And what's nice is at least this overview gives you an idea of what lies ahead in the next few weeks as well. Okay, so I'm hoping most of you have been through this as well. Now, we released the introduction for FR and topic 1 in FR earlier than we would normally release the material. So from next week onwards, you are then going to get your material released on a Friday for the week ahead. So Friday, by the end of business, your material for the week ahead would be released. And remember, I told you we only release one topic at a time. And I think tax was the only subject that didn't make the material available by the 20th, just for you to, find your feet, navigate through the material, get familiar with it so that as you get into the semester, you are more comfortable as well. So the material for next week was released. And the following Monday, which, if I'm not mistaken, is the 10th. So from that week, the Monday and the Wednesday, we're going to have a live session on the week before topic. So on topic 1, your FR systems, you're going to your financial reporting system. We're going to have a live group session on that topic, Monday the 10th. And Wednesday the 12th, if I stand to be corrected. So what do these live sessions actually entail? So like you booked into the session for the orientation, you're going to do the same every week to book into the session. But what's nice is you have an option to log in on a Monday or a Wednesday. So you don't have to attend both. It depends on what your commitment is for that week. So each subject will have 2 sessions a week, and you can decide which one you want to enter into. So ours, like I said, is on a Monday and a Wednesday. You don't have to attend both. If for some reason you're unable to attend a live session, we do upload the recordings after that. But I think it's more important that you make yourself available, get into these sessions, and you find it more interactive. And what I've also encouraged is, engaging in that session as well. If you have a question, if you have a suggestion, if you need clarity on a particular topic, and we will try and let you know the week before what that session is going to be about, whether we're going to discuss a question, whether we're just going to recap a particular lecture, whether it's an important concept we think you need to discuss. So that's why it's important that, you partake in these live sessions as well. And if you've got any queries or you have issues, connecting, please let support know and they'll try and help you work through that as well. And this is basically the connect page for each of the modules, and it gives you the schedule of which subject is on which particular day. And I know for a fact FR is on a Monday and a Wednesday as well. So, and it also gives you information how to log into MS Teams, which you all have done successfully, and what other relevant information to get through to us as well, whether you want to, get through to us personally as well. Okay, and the last thing is, like I've said, we have, I think I've been through this as well, and obviously the stress on, having the one-on-one sessions with the lecturers. Now, you'll also notice that lecturers are available on a weekly basis. But what might happen is I might be available in 1 week, but Tracy might have other commitments and she might not be available for that particular week. So I will then take on the consultations for that particular week. And if you feel that the times that we've put up is not suitable for you for whatever reason, you can email us directly and we'll try and, see that we can make a plan to speak to you in that particular week. As you engage with the material on a weekly basis, whatever issues or concerns you have or whatever you don't understand, I would like to, stress the importance of sorting that out in that particular week. Don't leave it for 3 weeks down the line. So if you've got a question on deferred tax, you'll notice that deferred tax then comes through in multiple topics after that. Address the situation or the concern when you find it. Don't leave it for 3 weeks time, because then that will just have a domino effect on the rest of the topics as well. So whether it's a quick email, and everybody works at different times, and you could be a night owl and you can just drop in an email at that time to say, I'm not sure about this, please can you help me? And then if it's a one-line solution, we'll email you back. Or if we think it's going to be a lengthy discussion, we'll encourage you then to set up a live session with us as well. But like I said, technical queries, if there's a concern that you have, or you don't understand something in the practice question, put it into the discussion forum so other students will have access to that as well, and will also then be able to sort out their problems and issues as well. Okay, so use whatever is most comfortable for you as well. Okay, I think that's about covers everything that I should have covered. I'm not sure if anybody else has any questions. Just one more thing, from a time commitment, you'll notice that, you've been told that you need to work about 30 to 40 hours per week. And it might seem daunting, it is quite overwhelming, but I think once you get into the practice of working on a weekly basis, it also then prepares you for PGDA. Because remember, PGDA will be a little bit more challenging from that perspective as well. But I think once you've got into a rhythm of working in the week, working on the weekends, you are better than prepared to do your CTA as well. So it seems a bit daunting, 30, 40 hours a week. Initially, it would be, but what also happens in some of the live sessions is some students might say, I'm not sure how this is working. I cannot cope with, trying to finish FR in 1 week, or my math information is too much. Other students then come in and give their ideas on how their week works. So like I said, some work in the morning, some work in the evenings. Some work at lunchtime as well. So and I stressed the importance of community earlier on. So, let's work together, support each other, so that we can see you guys to a successful outcome at the end of the bridging course as well. Okay. Any questions, any queries, any concerns based on what we've covered, or what you might have come across in the overall program material? Details regarding the first topic, remember, we'll address that in the session in about a week's time. But anything else that you might have that you want to ask either Tracy or myself?
Yes, Stasha again. One of the things we were told that WhatsApp groups will be created once we registered, and student representatives will be selected from each area. So I just want to know when that's going to be set up, and also how is it going to work? Is it going to work per subject? Because some of us are doing 2 subjects, or is it going to be for everybody sitting down once in the same area? I just want to understand how it's going to work.
So basically, Gareth, in a few weeks' time, once I think everybody gets to know each other as best as they can through this particular medium, we'll set out an announcement and explain in detail how the whole thing works with regards to the student reps and the WhatsApp groups. What I found with some of the students as well, just through working on the online sessions, is they form their own little WhatsApp group. So if you live in a particular area, for example, I know there's a set of students that are in PGDA that I think they're based in Durban, but they don't actually meet each other, although they all stay in the same area. They actually then, work via MS Teams. So they meet regularly, they set each other tasks for the week and say, you need to do these practice questions by a certain date. If they have queries, they answer each other's queries. And, if they're unable to do so, then they have the sessions with the lecturers as well. So Gareth will be sending out, correspondence with respect to the WhatsApp groups and how you're going to join. Also, remember, there's a Facebook group as well. So you can just, gain information from that. But Gareth's normally very good about updating students as the weeks go by as well.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay. Pleasure. Any other questions or queries? Sorry, my thing is...
Hi, Mariam. Landy here in Durban.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear, and I can see you. Welcome.
Okay. Oh, cool. Just a quick one. Is it safe to assume that and Tracy are also our tutors? Because obviously, is it safe to also assume that you and Tracy are our tutors as well as our lecturers, or there's a separate like tutor line?
No. So like I'm not sure if you were in from the beginning. Like I said, if you've got a quick question, you can drop it into the discussion forum or email the Zendesk with that question. Or if you have multiple questions, I would encourage you then to set up an online session with either one of us so that we can go address all your concerns at one go. So yeah, I think you can regard us as your tutors as well. So yeah, whenever you need any help, we're here to support you in any way we can.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Pleasure.
Hi,
David
here
again.
Inside. Oh, okay.
Okay,
First,
David.
I've got 2
Oh.
questions.
Yeah.
I just want to find out, in Joburg, are we allowed to go to Mill Park to use one of the rooms to study over the weekend or something?
That's actually quite a good question. Can you probably send an email to the support desk inquiring about that? I'm not actually sure about that. That's actually a good question. And then we'll just, make the information available to see whether you can gain access to the campus.
Okay, and then my second question is, what books can we get from the library? Because when I read, they said you can get some of the books from the library.
Well, as far as I know, but I stand to be corrected, they should have the latest versions of the books. But are you not able to get the IFRS handbooks or whatever legislation or other prescribed books that are required for your exams? Because the problem with that is if the book is not available at the test time, then you don't have a resource available in your test or exam. So it would be actually a good idea to purchase the books because you'll use it in bridging. You're going to use it at CCA, and it's the same set of books that you're taking with you to ITC.
Okay, but I was asking for the other books, the prescribed one, not the handbooks per se.
The
Will they be
IFRS
available? Not the the IFRS principles and the other ones.
Oh, I see. Okay. They should be. If it isn't, will you just let us know and then we can follow up on that?
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? I think David, you had a question.
Yes, I did. But before my question, maybe let me just comment on the disadvantage of using the books in the library or depending on them. It's that you may go to the library and maybe they only have about 4 or 5 sets and someone is using it on the day. So if you are really going to depend on those, it may be a disadvantage. But that's just my 5-cent comment on that. My question was with regard to, I received a communication that you need to post on a weekly basis. Basically, it was about attendance that you need to post on a weekly basis on the discussion forum as a evidence that you are active and you are attending the classes and you need to prepare for the posts and all of that. But I think this morning I got another communication which was contradictory to the earlier communication. Maybe share some clarity on that.
Okay, my advice would be is in terms of the posting to your discussion forum, like I said, you have various means. We encourage you to do each one. But if you go to the rules book and under the engagement activities, it tells you, which forum to use and how many at the minimum that you need to use that count towards. But we're not expecting you to every single week put in a question on the discussion forum, which you're just doing for the sake of it as well. So go back to the rules in that student handbook. They'll give you guidance on, where to post and what we expect from you in terms of posting whether on Zendesk or your discussion forum and things like that as well. Okay.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
If I also comment on, was it Vui asking about whether you could use Millpark's venue?
Yes, we did have a query on that. Do you have any information on that?
Yeah, I also, as part of the introductory material on the frequently asked questions section or something like that, there was some comment about that. They say like, look, because this program is offered online, so to say, students, they are either at home or at work or in the libraries and so on. But should you wish to go to Millpark's you know, their campuses or so on, then you can request if you may like book a room there or something like that. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Oh, thank you so much for that as well.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay. Any other concerns, questions, anything you guys want to add? Okay, so just remember, guys, a totally new forum. It's great to hear and see everybody, and let's keep the rhythm going for the rest of the semester. You know, we'd love everybody's input on these in these sessions as well. Love to see you guys as well. You guys have been quite brave putting on your videos. Love to hear from you. And like I said, we are available to assist and support you in any possible way. So, you know, let's just make this work and have a successful few months ahead as well. Okay, and thank you so much for making time to come onto the session as well. I think there is another session next week, so you don't have to attend the orientation session. There's just one for each particular individual as well. So the next thing that you'll probably book into is the topic sessions that's going to follow in the following week as well. Okay.
Mariam,
so
sorry, just
yeah,
on that, there is the session with Gareth. So all of you have attended the session with us, which is just an overview for everything. But then there is one other session with Gareth, who is the program coordinator, and he will do like a bit of an intro from his perspective. So make sure you attend one of the ones that he's offering. But then, as Mariam said, the next live session will probably be a subject-related live session. Yeah.
Hi, Tracy, Mariam. Just a
Yes.
quick one. I'm not too sure if you guys can hear me.
We can hear you.
Anyway.
Danny.
Oh, thanks. I see Tracy is recording this chat. Will it, maybe our conversations at a later stage, will they be accessible? Will we have access to those things? I see, for instance, maybe you miss one of them.
Yes.
So, sorry, you go ahead, Mariam.
Yeah, so we normally do upload a session. It's recorded for upload purposes, and I mentioned earlier on as well in this particular discussion that even with your weekly topic discussions, for some reason you might just miss both FR sessions, for example, but we do make a point of at least uploading, you know, one of those two sessions each week. So even if you missed, you can then catch up on that. But we do strongly encourage you to partake in these sessions, because you'll find it a lot more valuable, you know, to hear the discussions and ask questions than, you know, just watching the recording as well. But, you know, due to circumstances, you might not be able to make it. But we do, and this will be uploaded as well in the week.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Pleasure. Any other questions? Okay. Tracy, is there anything else that I might have missed out that you want to add?
Yeah, nothing really springs to mind. I think we've covered a lot of ground. Hopefully you guys don't have information overload. Just to answer the questions about the recordings that are coming through in the comments, Silandi, the recordings are made available on the same page on which you booked to come to the session. So, for example, in financial reporting, you will book for a financial reporting live session at the bottom of the topic page, and once the recording is available, the link to the recording will appear underneath that booking button. Because we are running many of these orientation sessions over the next 10 days or whatever it is, we won't upload every recording, but we'll put up a few of them so that people who maybe start late can have something to refer to, and those would be then in that overall module. And so you can go back and have another look at them. But yes, they will, Daniel, they're available for you to download. The links are to YouTube, and so whatever you would view on YouTube, you could then view it chat. But hopefully this has been really helpful in terms of just helping you guys like get started, know some of the practicalities, know how to join us for live sessions, feel your way through your first kind of topic on my courses, get a sense of how this program's going to work. I think a lot of people hear like online education. What does that mean? What does that feel like? Is there a person at the other end? Does anybody actually care? But we really are here to help you and to support you. And thank you for all the comments about how helpful the material in orienting you has been. That's wonderful. We really hope that you do enjoy engaging with our material and you find it to be really helpful. But yeah, we're here to support you. We're here to walk this journey with you. So welcome. It's wonderful to have you on board, and thank you for your time this evening. It's been great to get together.
One last one.
Sure.
David here. So with regard to the recording, how long do you keep them on the portal?
We don't take them down.
You don't
They'll
take
be
them,
up the duration of the course.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool, thanks.
So particularly if you perhaps you're studying and you want to go back to a recording where something was discussed when you're studying for the final exam, you want it to be available. So yeah, we don't remove them. So you'll only lose access to them when you lose access to the course material. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. Any other
Thanks,
questions?
Mariam.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Thanks for making the time to chatting to us this evening. And Tracy and I look forward to engaging with you over the next few weeks. Have a good evening and travel safely if you're driving anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye.
Thanks, guys.
you. Bye.
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 Thank you. Bye.
Bye.